Hey, welcome back. This Data Trader Kenny. So after getting a couple feedback from a couple guys, they want to go over my strategy and what I do. So my main strategy is selling puts. Um, I do a couple other things, but the main thing I do is sell puts. So we're gonna go over it. This video might be a couple minutes, so just have a drink and go through the whole thing and see go around. So, the first thing is knowing what the strategy is all around, right? So, the first thing we're going to look at is the CBOE S&P 500 put right index, right? This is the put right index. You type in the word put in your thing and it will bring up this index. Look at the chart. So whenever there's a market crash, it goes down. And guess what it does? It goes up. It tells you right here, it's a benchmark index that sells the put on the S&P with collateralized reserves in a money market account. Basically, they keep money in the treasury slash money market account, right? Whenever there's a crash in the market, it goes down. 2022, it goes down whenever we had a bear market and it comes right back up. So you can see this thing just goes up. You see what I'm saying? So selling puts over time, you're gonna come out profitable as long as you have a baseline rules that protect yourself from it, right? Just so we understand that if you're selling puts, as long as you know what you're doing, you should be on the other side. So here we are, right? So basically, I call my, I call it the Peter Griffin way, right? Just being out here running around like Peter Griffin naked, right? So here we are. So there's two people out there, right? So you have the buyer and your seller, right? So on the buyer side, right, the buyer of Apple, he wants insurance, right? For his Apple shares, right? I am the seller and I am willing to sell him that insurance that I will buy Apple shares if it falls so he can go to sleep at night. So for that insurance, he has to pay me for that insurance. So that is that premium that I get. On the other side, there's another guy over there who's betting that Apple is going to zero. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, the new iPad is coming out and Apple's going to the moon. So I will take his bet. So I am the guy on the other side of the bet over here who's willing to take the bet. So you gotta, some of the times you might not be selling to a guy who has shares. You might be selling to a guy who's speculating, and you're taking the bet from that guy. So you don't know who you're selling to on the other side, right? So you always got a buyer and a seller, and the same other thing is the owner and the writer, right? So you don't know who's on the other side. But at the end of the day, want to use the buyer, want to use the seller. But the numbers are always in your favor. The best thing being a seller is you determine the amount of risk you want to take, and we'll see that later on. Is you dictate the amount of risk you want to take. Um, and my risk is determined in here, right? So my rules for selling naked puts slash cash secure puts is um, I don't sell puts on stocks I don't want to own. So if I have nothing if I want nothing at all to do with a stock, I'm not even gonna touch it because I know like the stock can completely tank. So if I don't want nothing at all to do with it, then I shouldn't be touching it at all, right? So that's number one. Um, Number two is don't let the market determine your risk. You determine your own risk. So if your portfolio is under pressure and you're gonna sell more puts, just thinking that oh the market's gonna come back up, you're basically hoping and no, you need to sit on the sidelines and wait until the market comes back or something else. So you need to ensure like you're not putting undue risk on yourself thinking the market is going to help you because the market can keep going down. So you need to ensure that you can maintain your positions in a constant downturn. Because where a lot of put sellers get in trouble is the market starts going down and they keep selling more puts than they can maintain, especially if they're selling them naked, right? Because yes, I'm a naked put seller, but if the market takes a downturn, I am going to stop selling. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to stop selling. I'm not going to continue throwing gas into a fire that is burning. I'm going to stop selling until trades start coming off the table, because that's where a lot of guys get into trouble, right? No plan, no trade. It's self-explanatory. If you go into this thing with no plan, I am telling you that stock will run rampant and burn the whole house down. I've seen it a lot of times. It has happened to me before. I've been doing this for years, and it's happened to me. So your plan could simply be, when it gets to this price, I'm gonna roll, or simple as that. So you know there's an exit, and when it gets to this price, I'm gonna take profit, or on this day, I'm gonna take profit. Simple. But if you don't have a plan, just know the stock is gonna run rampant and do whatever it wants to do, and you're gonna be there hoping. Um, don't don't follow the stock past your levels, right? So you sometimes you'll get you start selling puts on a stock, and the stock will keep going up, right? And let's say you're okay with selling puts at on a stock that you start selling puts at 90, right? And the stock goes to 100. You start selling puts at 95, 100. You might not be okay selling at 100. So maybe you need to start selling puts 2 weeks out to keep selling at 95. That's okay. But now you don't want to sell two, four, a month out, then maybe you need to stop and let the stock come back down. But what you don't want to do is start selling puts at 120, chasing the stock up, because if the stock doesn't have a valid reason of why it's valid at 120 now, the stock will come back down and now you're trapped in the stock at 120. So you have to be mindful of when a stock is just rocketing up on, hey, do I want to continue selling up here because the stock is up 30%? You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things there where people get caught, 30% above where the stock was trading, and they don't know why they're caught up there is because they followed the stock up when really all they had to do was sell time instead of chasing the stock up. All they had to do was sell some more time, and they could be in the same level down there at 90. They could have sold 2 more weeks out and be in the same 90 and get a premium, and the stock would have went up, came down, and they would have still have been at 90. They would have been down on the 90 put, but they would have still been at 90, and in 3 weeks the trade would have worked out. Um, the the last one is always look always look out for earnings and dividend and Fed news. Trust me, I always get clapped on those. So when I say it, trust me, it is there. Um, so trade plan, right? So we talk about plan and stuff, right? So um, weekly puts, um, I do probability out the money and delta, right? So 80% probability out the money, um, 20 delta, or not really 20 delta, but less than 20 delta, and I need 50 cents to $1.20 per contract. And as I said, this is weekly to 14 days, so it depends on the time. You see what I'm saying? But that's what I'm looking per contract. For my monthlies to 60 days, 85% probability of expiring worthless out the money, less than 12 delta, and I'm looking for $1 to $3.50. I'm looking for $1.80 to $3.50. That's what I'm looking for. So we can look in Tasty Trade right now, and you can we can see that was my thing there. So if you don't know what out the money is, this is probability of an option expiring outside the money, OTM, right? So you can look at, right now we're looking at Amazon and this is 2 weeks out, right? So I'm looking in here and right now I actually have this option right here. I sold this, I think I sold this for around $90, I think I sold this for, right? And when I sold this, it was around 80. It was around 80 when I sold this, right? And so what this is saying is this option has an 80% chance of expiring outside the money, and I will keep the entire $80. So when I'm looking at this setup, what am I looking at? I am looking at the expected move. So you have two ways of looking at it. You have this thing here where this is showing the expected move. I'm outside it. And you have this thing here, 5.66. So we're at basically 150, 5.66. So you can see we're outside the expected move. We're inside one standard deviation. So yes, we can be caught in the move. I'm okay with that. So that is why I put the trade on. So we could be in this, but I'm okay with the risk. So I put the trade on, right? So you can see here that I have a 84, 84% chance of getting all the money for this, right? And I have a 50% chance of getting half, I have a 90% chance of getting half of the money of this. So it's a decent trade. I'm currently in this trade. There's 21 days left, and um, I just did this trade today. So even though I didn't get the full amount that I wanted, I'm looking for Amazon to go past 150 and this week, and this should be a decent little trade. Um, so selling puts can be a really good way to grow your account. Um, whenever you're down on something, you just roll it. You just continue staying with your trade, roll where you don't need to roll, contain your margin. There's a lot to learn. A lot of people just get in problems when they put on too much trades and they sell puts on stocks that they they have no valuation, or meme stocks, and yeah, that's when they get in a lot of trouble. But outside that, if you're selling puts on good S&P stocks, they're decent and they'll come back. You know what I'm saying? And if you're selling puts on stocks on earnings, you already know earnings risk. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna feel that pain. So selling stocks on earnings, there's a lot of IV in there, and there's a reason why it's there. The stock is gonna move up or down. It's a gamble. If you're gambling, you know what it is. That's what I gotta say. If you got any comments, leave them down there. Like and subscribe. I look forward to your comments.